Good morning. The Department of Fashion Designing of Hindustan First Grade College, Mysore, is organizing a webinar today on careers in fashion design, retail, and manufacturing. I could see a huge number of participants for the webinar today. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all the participants and the resource person, Dr. Banu Rekha, for the session. Hindustan First Grade College, which is located at JP Nagar, Mysore, it is one of the prestigious part of Hindustan Group of Institutions, Chennai. With a vision of making every man a success and no man a failure, Hindustan First Grade College is committed to deliver excellence in the field of education. The college, which is affiliated to University of Mysore, is presently offering two regular courses and two specialized courses. Regular courses are in BCom and BCA, and the specialized courses are BSc Fashion Designing and BBA Aviation Management. So today, the BSc Fashion Designing department, they have come forward to conduct a webinar on the various career opportunities which are available in the industry sector. As you all know, fashion design, it has become very highly competitive today. And if you want to pursue a career in this industry, you need to work hard, develop more skills. It is not just getting the bachelor degree in the fashion design. It is all about developing your visual arts, general design, graphic design. Nowadays, each day for a fashion designer, it has become a bit hectic because the demand in the fashion industry, it is quite high. The industry is dynamic. The latest technology, it comes every day. The designs, what it is present today, for tomorrow it goes off. The current trend always it predominates the previous one. So the objective of today's webinar is to make the budding professionals aware of the recent trends which is happening in the fashion industry, the various job opportunities which are available, and the other prospective avenues which will enhance their professional skills. Students now they are living in an uncertainty and they have many queries regarding the future. Like after they are class 12, which course they need to select. So they have lots of questions in their mind. So the webinar, what we're going to do today, will provide an answer for your questions. So this webinar on career design, retail and manufacturing will now be presented by Dr. Manureka. She is a HOD and Associate Professor, Department of Fashion Technology, KCG College of Technology, Chennai. In fact, KCG College of Technology, Chennai is one of our part of Hindustan Group of Institutions, Chennai. So you can have a live discussion with Dr. Manureka. And I hope it is going to be very insightful for all the participants. So the webinar to be conducted today will cover all the important aspects of the fashion industry, and all your questions will be answered as well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It's time to enhance our knowledge by being the part of the webinar. Over to you, ma'am.
A very good morning to all of you. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, so at the outset, I'd like to thank the management of Hindustan First Grade College and our Hindustan group of management for giving this wonderful opportunity to meet all of you in this pleasant morning. I thank Sushma for giving that wonderful introduction about me. And I also thank our beloved principal, ma'am, for giving this opportunity and inviting me to present about a very wonderful, enterprising industry, the fashion industry. So just give me a minute. I'm just sharing my presentation with you all. Hope my screen is seen. Yeah, so I
Yes, ma'am.
a
So,
wonderful quote by Donna Karan. Design is a constant challenge to balance comfort with lux, the practical with the desirable. This is a constant challenge that all designers and the consumers as such, they try to balance between the comfort and the luxury, the practical and the desirable. This challenge is the biggest one that everybody in the fashion industry face. Let us just have a very quick look about what fashion is. Ralph Lauren, the American fashion designer, he quotes, "I don't design clothes, I design dreams." Yes, so clothes are just not clothes. They are more than that. They are, of course, the dreams of the clients. And that's how Ralph Lauren. Coco Chanel, the French designer, she quotes, "Fashion is not something that exists in dresses only. Fashion is in the sky, in the street. Fashion has to do with ideas, the way we live, and what is happening." So all of us can understand that fashion cannot exist as it is individually. It has a lot of factors which influence it, which make all the changes to fashion. So we have a lot of forces like demographic forces, economic forces, natural forces, technological forces, political forces, and cultural forces, and each of them have a lot of subcategories under them. So all these factors together, they have a lot of cross currents here and there. There are a lot of sparks which happen, and there are some inspirations which happening, which are given to the fashions. And yes, fashion is getting created like that. And one more important thing that we'll have to understand about fashion is fashion changes are evolutionary. Let us see what Oscar Wilde, the poet, the novelist, the dramatist, and the critic, says about fashion. Fashion is a form of ugliness so intolerable that we have to alter it every 6 months. So he has given it in his own style. Ugliness is nothing but all of us feel the monotony, the boredom when we continue to wear the same kind of styles. So there are a lot of changes which keep happening, and we very fastly adapt all those things, and we start using something new. Albert Elbaz, the Israeli fashion designer, quotes, "Fashion is like a fruit. You couldn't eat it a day before. You can't eat it a day after. It's just about today." So the philosophy of human is also the same. Live in your present. So fashion is all about human philosophy. It's very close to human beings, very close to their emotions, very close to their heart. You have to live in your present. Use something which is in trend. Geoffrey Chaucer, the English poet, says, "There's never a new fashion, but it's old." Yes, a lot of changes are happening, and we are supposed to follow the trends. That is, whatever is present, we'll have to follow. Yes. But what is happening? Fashion is old. It's so contradictory to the first one told by Oscar Wilde, that we are very intolerable. We can't wear the same thing. But you'll have to understand that fashion, yes, old, because whenever fashion needs change, it goes back to the history,
Hello.
and it tries to look out and tries to get some
Hello.
inputs. Hello, should I continue?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it just goes back to the culture, it goes back to the history to find some new inputs, to find some new inspirations, takes a totally new outlook, and again comes back to us. So that's exactly what Geoffrey Chaucer has been telling. There's never a new fashion, but it's old. But yes, from the olden days it comes, but then it tries to take a new incarnation. Can I request all the participants to mute your phones, please? I think there's some kid there.
I request all the participants to mute audio, or else it will be very disturbed.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So we have understood this point, that is fashion changes are evolutionary. So here, the most important point that we'll have to understand is we go back to our culture. Fashion is powerful and influencing. So fashion is very artistic. So like we admire a painting, we can also admire fashion because both of them are flattering, inspiring, thought-provoking, and empowering. But one important thing is fashion is more powerful because we wear, we experience, and we express our emotions through them. Fashion has been an explicit tool of self-expression since ages and has been reflecting the culture since then. So we can very simply say fashion reflects culture and culture reflects fashion. Both, they need a coexistence. The creators, that is the fashion designers, communicate through fashion, and the consumers interpret the messages and select as per their desire. So this is where we talk about the niche market or the consumers, your consumers. Okay. So that's how the communication between the creator and the consumers happen. And whatever I like, whatever kind of messages I have interpreted from the creator, I get it and I use it. Fashion expresses any sort of individuality. It can be a negative one or it can be a positive one, and it can emulate the feeling and the attitude of the set of people or the society of a particular time. So this has led to a powerful form of expression which has created subcultures. So some very good examples for these are which happened during the 1970s and 80s and even before that. We can talk about the examples which have been set. That is the punk system and the hippies. So they were not very happy about whatever is happening. So they were revolting. So they used their costumes, their accessories, their lifestyle to show that show that annoyance that they had. They wanted to revolt it that way. So like this, we have a lot of individuality which can be expressed through fashion as such, and these subcultures, they reflect a particular time. So for example, whenever we want to portray that we want to present the 1970s, so you must have seen all this in the movies and the dramas. So whenever they want to portray a particular time, they will be using that particular fashion. So that's how it's very powerful and influencing. Yes. So we should know about the significance of fashion. That is what we have seen. That is what we have seen. So now I've set the platform now, and now we'll have to have a look at the fashion industry. So we are very passionate about the fashion industry. We want to take up careers in the fashion industry. We want to know what's there. Then we'll have to understand the fashion industry. So over here, I have presented the fashion industry in the form of a pyramid, and let us understand the pyramid. The base is larger, so it means that larger number of people are there in the base, and as we go up to the summit of the peak, we have very little number of people following that. So over here, I'm just going to portray three important things. That is, I'm going to talk to you about 5 market segments, 4 business models, and 3 value propositions offered to the customer. Hello. I'm sorry for that technical issue. I'm joining back. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, you can continue.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. So we are going to look at 5 market segments. That is, they are haute couture, ready to wear, diffusion, bridge, and mass market. So based on 5 different market segments, uh, we can concentrate on 5 different market segments. So our products can be developed to cater to the needs of these 5 different market segments. And as far as the business models are concerned, there are 4 different business models. So they are either luxury brands, brands which are created by owned by fashion designers, premium brands, and then vertical retailers. And there are around 3 value propositions offered to the customer. So value proposition in the sense, whatever the consumers pay, what kind of value do they get? So it is the price, it is a creativity factor, and it is the quality factor. So these are the three things which are differing in all these things. So we can see that the vertical retailers, they are the huge ones, and then the premium brands are a lesser but higher in quality, creativity, and price. And then diffusion, it has a lot of designer and premium brands present in the present, which try to cater to this market segment. So they are much costlier. They have more creativity. Their quality is higher than the bridge. And then the next, that is the ready to wear. Here there are a lot of designer brands available. And in the peak we have the couture. So that the haute couture are the high fashion. So this is supposed to be the most the luxurious brands are found over here. They have the highest price, the highest quality, and the highest creativity. So so this is just a small a table which tries to give you the difference between all the five uh, market segmentations. So the different things that the factors which differ among all the five are the price, the creativity, the quality, the use, the target, the idea, and I've given you some examples for the brands. So haute couture, that's the most expensive, and creativity is at its heights. It has very good craftsmanship, and use is special occasions, and the target, very few celebrities are there. So that's exactly what you will be able to see in the pyramid. So here we have very little number of people, but here we have the maximum number of people. So like this, as we go across, so the creativity, the quality, the use, the number of all this, it tries to reduce down. So we have some examples for ready to wear. We have uh, we have the brands offered by Anita Dongre, like and Global Desi. And in the case of diffusion, which are and ready to wear, of course, it's also called as a pret-a-porter. And then in the case of diffusion, it is also called as a second young lines. And in the case of bridge, this has been initiated by the departmental stores which are available at USA. So they wanted to bridge between the higher quality and the lower quality. So that's exactly why the name has come as bridge itself. So they have the cost is higher than the market average market price, but then lesser than the diffusion. They are supposed to be very trendy. And of course, daily wear is something which we'll be able to see here. And it's a mix of retail and wholesalers and local and international market. So some examples are Diesel and Armani. So Diesel and Armani are found in the haute couture strata also, but they do cater to the needs of the bridge market segment also. So this is the lowest one, but of course they do have value for the money that we pay. So some examples are Gucci and Calvin Klein, because they also try to cater to the mass market also. The luxury brands and the premium brands also, they try to cater to all the five market segments. So it is only to improve their sales and the turnover. So we will also be able to see that there is a lot of cross-cultural, cross currents, a lot of integrations which are happening across the luxury brands, the designer brands, and all those people. So, like for example, the designer brands cater to couture segment also, because they are supposed to cater to the ready-to-wear only, but then they do cater to the couture segment also. And the luxury brands, that is whatever is found over here, they try to support the ready to wear also. So and the luxury brands, they also try to give to the mass, that is to the retailers, and the premium brands also give to the retailers. But then according to the strata to which they're going to supply, the price point, the quality, everything will be a bit lesser. But of course, for sure, you're going to get the value for the money that you're going to pay. And this is one more thing, like the retailers, they try to collaborate with the designers. So from here, the retailers, they try to collaborate with the designers, and they try to offer to the mass market. So such an example is Karl Lagerfeld. the designer, he has tied up with H&M, and he's been giving to the retailers. So it is easier for a designer to reach the mass market, and it's a good opportunity for the retailers to give the high quality products to the retailers also. So that's the kind of integration which happens across the market segment and across the business models also. And this is something, this is called as a position, the brand positioning mapping. With so you'll be able to see, you have, it's a kind of a graph. You'll be able to see that this x-axis has the quality, and across the y-axis you have the price. So like this, you will be able to place the brands here, and when you try to have a look over here, you'll be able to understand what brands, what do they do, to whom do they cater, to the needs of which strata do they cater to the needs. So when we try to understand all these things, we will be able to select where we would like to give or work in the fashion industry. Which part of the brand can we take up? Which strata of the market segment can we work? So this kind of knowledge about the fashion industry is very, very important. So now let us try to understand the fashion design process. I'm not going to go into the details. I'm just going to give you a very short, crisp idea about it. So we have the first step is analyzing the brief. So we try to understand where there is a demand, what is the problem, or something like that. So we try to understand where we'll have to start working, and then we try to do some research. So we try to do some research about the inspirations. What kind of inspirations or themes could we get? So for that, we try to do some research. And then this is about the research direction. That is, we try to understand what's there in trend. So that's a direction. So what is the direction in which the fashion is moving? So we try to get some inputs from the trend analysis or the fashion forecasting, the published information, all those things. We get all these things, we pull them together, and we try to start the design process. And we try to start the design process by playing with colors, silhouettes, proportions, fabrics, prints, pattern, textures, detailings in the garments, and all those things. And then we try to develop the prototypes. So with the help of flat pattern techniques, or pattern making, or draping, or toilet modeling, all these things, and we try to add some value to it by adding some embellishments like embroidery, some print designs, or something like that. We try to put all these things, and we try to develop a prototype. And then after developing a prototype, we try to develop a range. So from the range, so that is range in the sense when we try to, so this is an example of a range or a collection of garments. So for that particular season, for that particular market, or the consumers, we try to pull in all the inspirations. We try to pull in all the fashion forecasting informations, and we try to develop some designs. By playing with all these elements of fashion design, we try to create a collection. So the collection informations will be the kind of styles that we're going to use, the kind of, the sizes that we'll be using, the kind of colors, or the kind of fabric assortments we'll be having. All these things is how we try to plan on a range plan. And after that, we try to have a lot of discussions. Of course, we do have discussions with the buyers, or with the merchandiser, the sourcing team, the marketing team, and all these people. And we try to freeze on the range of collections. So the range of collections is very important, where we try to find out the selling point, and the cost of the product, and the sourcing. That is, are we able to get the materials or the accessories which we have planned for? So all those things we try to put in everything, and we try to freeze on the range. And then we have the promotion. So promotions are different. There are different ways of promotions depending on at what stage you try to promote it. So yes, so that's a small intro about the design process. What happens? So if it's going to be an apparel manufacturer, mass manufacture, what happens is, from this, the sampling will be done. Okay, and then the sampling will be checked for various things like either the raw materials or the fit and all those things, and according to the buyer's requirement you must have made some changes, and then we go for the production sequence. So when you go for the production, the manufacturing, then we'll have to take care of the machineries involved, the number of laborers involved, the time which is available for us to complete the order, and all those things comes into the picture. Uh, so with that small intro, let us try to understand that there are different places of work in fashion industry. So if it's going to be, so we can have, it can be fashion designing or graphic designing or apparel manufacturing industry, or a couture house or a boutique or a bespoke tailoring, and then we have the retail industry. So if it's going to be fashion design, the kind of work that the processes which will be involved is interpreting trend forecasts, trend stories, design research, conceptualization, range planning, final collection, and then the prototype. And if it's going to be graphic design is used in so many other places. Like, if it's going to be branding activities, graphic designer will be there, like, designing a logo and all those things, the brand story and all those things. What's and then if it's going to be value addition designs, like something like, if it's going to be an embroidery design or a print design or anything else, so for that also we'll be using the graphic designer's help. And then so we will be having a graphic design department, so who will be involved in all these things. So if it's going to be a package design, yes, we need their help. Catalogs, other printing media, promotional activities, content writing, and all these things will be there. And if it's going to be the apparel manufacturing industry, sometime it starts off with design department where all these things happens. Okay, and then all these things also will happen. And then we start off with so we have the prototype, and we have the buyer's request and all those things. So with that, we start off with the sourcing, the sampling, the merchandising. So merchandising is, you try to start off right from once you get a spec sheet. So from the spec sheet is handed over to the merchandiser, and the merchandiser takes care of the whole process of the merchandising process. Merchandising process means the making of the product. So the whole thing the person tries to monitor. And then of course, yes, the production. So production, there's a separate team who will plan on the production planning and control. That is how the machineries, the laborers, the time, the men and the machine are planned by them. And the industrial engineers, they take care of the integrations of the machines, the automations, and all those things. They just they totally concentrate about the machineries and the automations, the work aids which are required, and all those things, and they try to improve the productivity. So these production planning control team and the industrial engineering people, they work together to improve the productivity and the quality. And of course, that's the techno economics which we talk about. And then we have the quality control team. They take care of the quality. They prescribe what quality is required. And then they have the finishing, and finally it goes for the finishing and the packing. So there's so much of finishing which is involved, like trimming and then stain removal and all those things. And of course, the packing, the folding and the packing, all this happens. And if it's going to be the couture house or the boutiques or the bespoke tailoring, of course they have very little differences. Of course, a couture house, it produces for the high fashion people. But basically all the three, no, they do it for a particular customer. So that is why I put all the three together. Of course, I will not say all the three work similarly. They do have a difference, but then over here, the point of me putting them together is because they work for a particular customer. So the customer interaction is very important, because we'll have to understand what is required for the customer. The body measurements are taken. The sourcing is done according to the the requirement of the customer. The value additions are done. The tailoring is done. The finishing, the fit checking, the delivery or the dispatching. And then, of course, when it comes to bespoke tailoring, we are supposed to manage the customers in a very nice way. So customer care and the follow-up is very, very important here. And then if it's going to be the retail industry, it's totally about marketing, selling, and all those things. So there's a huge quantity of and different qualities of materials are also available in a retail. Hello, am I audible now? Hello.
Yes, Banu, you're audible now.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Thank you. I think today is not my day. Getting all kinds of issues today. I'm extremely sorry for that. I'm just continuing back
Yes,
again.
ma'am, we can hear your voice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Uh, we've been talking about the retail industry, and these are the different places where people can work in a fashion industry. So now coming to the categories of clothing. So it may be any kind of a place that you're going to work at. Here we have the categories of clothing. So so according to your passion, your interest, according to your niche area, you can try to select any one of them or a combination of them. So it can be a men's wear, women's wear, knitwear, sportswear, children's clothing, evening wear, lingeries, fitness or leisure gears, special clothing for specially abled people, maternity wear, the people, the old age people, or something like that. So they are special. They come under the special clothing. And then we have the fashion accessories that you can work with, the bridal, the petite, that is, the petite and the plus size are the two extremes which are found on either ends. That is, there is a normal market, but then there are these people who are very very unique. They have a different kind of body size, which don't come in the normal the society standardization of measurements. We don't get them in that. So we have the petite and the plus sizes. And of course, protective wear is the most important thing now. So according to the requirements of day-to-day changes which are happening, we do have a lot of other categories of clothing. So under protective wear, there's a lot of production going on with the masks and the personal protective equipments and all those things. So yes, fine. Yes. So we have seen the places also. We have seen the categories of clothing also. But yes, of course, before we get into the industry, what are the different professional skills that we have to acquire? See, you have to go for a career, but then what are you having in yourself? So the skills, you will have to improve yourself. So as our principal ma'am just gave an intro in the beginning, so this fashion industry is a combination of skill, knowledge, and the attitude. All the three. The knowledge has to be acquired, and we have to try to apply. The skills have to be practiced and applied, and the attitude has to be developed only by by meeting people, getting to understand them. So it can be the final consumers, or it can be the people who are working in the industry or something like that. So with all these things, we will have to improve ourselves. So these are the set of professional skills which we'll have to acquire and keep ourselves ready, so that we are being hired by somebody according to
Excuse me,
our
ma'am.
expertise. Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
Ma'am, only 3/4 PPT is visible. Can you zoom that? Yeah, it's perfect now. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah, is it okay now? Is it fine now?
No, ma'am, no. I think you should adjust the laptop. Don't zoom it. Just adjust the
Yeah.
laptop.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is fine.
Yeah, it's fine, ma'am. You can
Yeah.
continue. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. Yeah, thank you. Yes. So the first thing is, like, you'll have to analyze the market and the demands in the market, and we'll have to. So there are a lot of people who are trying to forecast the fashion trends well ahead, and they are being published. Yes, they are available, but we should know how to interpret them, and we should know how to reflect on them and adapt them, or apply them in the apparel products that we are doing as per the requirement of the market. We should also be able to present the apparel designs uh, effectively to enable effective communication. So that there is a big team who will be involved in the product development and the manufacturing. All of them should be able to understand what we are trying to tell them, how the process has to be done. So the communication has to be very, very good. the professional communication. That skill has to be very good. And if you should know how to source the raw material, the right type of the raw material, which is going to give you the right type of the end use in the final product. We'll have to understand the anthropometric data. Anthropometry means the human body proportions, the measurements, and all those things. Anthropometry data, and we should also get the expertise in pattern making techniques, draping skills, so that we are able to achieve perfect fit. We should also be strengthening our garment techniques, knowledge and skills about garmenting techniques, so that we try to we know how to transform the 2D fabric into a 3D garment with a proper transition, and there is perfect fit, and the requirement also is served. And we should also get the hang of digital tools. There are a lot of modern machineries which are available, where the quality, the productivity, all these things can be improved. And we should also try to understand about the different types of machineries, the different types of processes, and we should be able to give some good inputs that so that the right machineries are selected, the right processes are selected, and the right process parameters are also selected, so that the apparel manufacture happens efficiently. And of course, we have the branding and promotional techniques. This also we'll have to strengthen. And then we'll have to know how to handle the social media with professional expertise, so that we are able to manage any kind of e-commerce also. We'll have to we should have to learn this listening skills, so that we know how to cultivate customers. That is, we talk to customers, try to understand them, we try to convince them, we try to hear from them, so that we are able to understand them, so that there is a proper decision making which happens very smoothly between us and the customer, or the consumer. Yes, so these are the professional skills. And the next thing is, as a student, so maybe you want to become a student of fashion related studies, or you are a student of fashion related studies, how can you become market ready? Maintain a sketchbook, observe people around and things around you, make a note of all these things in your sketchbooks. This sketchbook is going to become a kind of an encyclopedia or a library for you, so that later, whenever you browse through these sketchbooks, you will be able to get those ideas which are very much close to you. Start meeting fashion industry related people and understand the industry. Improve your contacts and communication skills. Develop the business mind and marketing skills, as they are very, very essential in order to promote the work. Read about world's best fashion designers. They try to understand how they came to this point of their life. How did they succeed? So try to learn about their careers, their styles, their backgrounds, where they studied, and what and all made them get this expertise and all those things. Closely watch the brands, their DNAs, their USPs, the product collections, all these things. So what is DNA? DNA is very similar to what we talk about our DNA. The brand structure, the brand story, all these things, you can say they are the DNA of the brand. And USP is unique selling point. There are so many varieties of shirts, but then a particular brand's shirt is sold high. It has very good image. So what is the unique selling point of that particular brand? Get to know about all these things. Learn how to create fashion storyboards, fashion lookbooks, product ranges, and practice to research the trends. Try to find inspirations from social medias, and then from whatever is happening around you. Do some comparative shopping and just try to understand the different types of collections, the price points, the kind of markets that the different brands try to cater to, and visit trade shows. Of course, they're going to give you a lot of inputs about new things which are emerging inside. And go as an intern is very, very important, because you might not be nobody will make you sit and teach you ABCs of of the fashion industry. It's the best way is go watch the industry as it is, when it's working, see, observe, and get to know a lot of things. So go as an intern to organize a fashion show. and learn about the runway, the catwalk, the coordinating people, how and all they do, how and all they coordinate, who and all are involved in it. Please see that. Learn more about the fashion industry and the current trends by following different fashion blogs, newspapers, and fashion magazines. So now the generation now is very very lucky in one way that you have information all around you. Yes, that's not good, but please be very clear. It is, yes, it's going to give you some confusions, but when you try to focus and try to see and search for things, you will be able to get all the things around you. You don't have to wait for somebody to come and give it to you. It's all around you. Focus, concentrate, and try to get what you want. Engage in many projects and prepare portfolios. Create websites for yourself and upload all your credentials, like the assignments, the project reports, the portfolio, all those things. Try to create a resume which is available. So when it's on the net, there are a lot of people who are looking out for fresh minds. Anytime you can get a call from the best of the people in the fashion industry. Our field needs expertise in the form of knowledge, skill, and attitude. So only practice can enrich you with such expertises. So yes, I'm coming to the close of the thing. I just have 2 slides to talk about all these things. So so there are merchandisers, there are brand managers, fashion consultants, photo shoot stylists, fashion journalists, visual merchandisers, fashion marketing manager. I can keep going on like this, but let me just give you a small hint about what these people do. So merchandisers, as I already told you, they follow the merchandising process. The brand manager, they take care of the brand, you know, the DNA, the USP, the collections, all those things. And then a fashion consultant. Fashion consultant is found in many workplaces. For example, a fashion consultant who is found in a retail outlet, he will be able to decide what kind of people come to that retail outlet. And say there is one consumer, they will be able to help them, which will be suitable for them. For they we will go to a store with a very vague idea, so they will try and interact with you and try to help you get the right kind of products. So like this, a fashion consultant is found in many places, so they have their roles change differently. And photo shoot stylist, you I just don't have to explain them. So there are a lot of photo shoots to present the collection. So for that, they try to help. They try to help during the photo shoots, with the right kind of hairstyle, the makeup, the accessories, and all those things. The fashion journalist, it's basically the journalism. So they totally talk about what's happening in the field of fashion. So you need to have a lot of literary strength in that also. Yes, a visual merchandiser. A visual merchandiser is a person who tries to work in the retail outlet, who tries to do all those wonderful, beautiful windows which try to grab you inside the store. So this is the person who does all those things. And when you go inside the store, you have a lot of those graphical informations about the cost, the kind of department you are, the kind of offers which are being given, and the kind of all kind of educative things which are happening inside the store, that the consumers get to understand. It's all done with the visual merchandiser. And then the fashion marketing manager totally takes care of the marketing part of the thing, of the of wherever he is. It can be a brand, or it can be a manufacturing thing, or a retail outlet, whatever it is. And then the production engineer, he takes care of the production. And the technical designer is the person who tries to see. I just have to say that there's a lot of difference between an illustration and a technical design. Okay, an illustration can give you, when you look at an illustration, I can take a different kind of information from it, and you can take a different kind of an information from it. So it's just the style, just gives a feel of the thoughts in a fashion designer's mind. But then a technical designer, he is not supposed to give such misinterpretations. It has to be a plain seam, means it has to be a plain seam. If it has to be a box pleat, means it has to be a box pleat. So he has to give point blank, he has to give you perfect information, so that there is no mismatch, there is no miscommunication which happens down the line during the production process. The product manager, yes, they take care of the products wherever they are. They have different kinds of roles to be played, and the fit analyst is totally trying to improve the fit of the garment to the wearer. And then the production planning engineer, so they're almost the same. The production engineer, the production planning engineer, the product developer, the quality controller. The quality controller, he totally maintains the quality of the of uh, of the targets. You know, there are certain quality targets which are set for a particular product, so that target has to be reached, so that the quality controller takes care. And garment technologist means this is a person who tries to do a lot of research and a lot of engineering which goes in the sourcing and all those things, so that the right type of fabric, because there are new technologies which have come. Okay, so new technology can give you a very beautiful fabric which has very good functionality in it. So this is the person who tries to say, yes, this technology can give you the right type of fabric for this kind of a garment. So this is the person who talks, who gives you inputs about the fabric, the type of seams, the type of threads, all that which is involved in garment making. So this is a person who takes care of that. Fashion designers is I cannot say it's a vague thing over here, but then we do have fashion designers who can take up different roles, right from the inspiration till the dispatch of the product to the end user. And the retail buyer, so this is a person who takes care of all the buying process which happens in the retail outlet. So I told you there is a back end. So this retail buyer is found in the back end, who tries to who tries to select the suitable kind of products according to the consumers who come to that particular retail outlet. And fashion stylist is a person fashion stylist is a person who takes care of you have a personal stylist also. So these people, they try to decide the kind of grooming and the kind of garments which are very much suitable for you, the kind of accessories, the whole wardrobe is something which these people can help you with. And textile designers are the people who are involved in designing, either it can be a woven design or a knitted design, or it can be a printed design, it can be an embroidery design, something like that. Okay, so these people take care of all those things. And of course, yes, personal stylist, I have told you. The fashion public relation officer, he basic public relations. So there are so many people who are involved. Like, for example, we do have the supply chain, that is the logistics. From one place to another, the product has to move. So there are logistics people who are involved. So this public relation officer can take care of a logistic person also. So like this, depending on the kind of a business model and the kind of the place the person is there, he actually tries to maintain the public relation, all the allied people also, the stakeholders. He tries to maintain that public relations also. And of course, I'm sorry that there are certain things which are repeating. Actually, I had planned for a very interactive session. That's basically why I try to mix and match and put all these things. But with this technical issues, I just want to complete the whole thing and wait to listen to some question answers from you. So I'm sorry for this mismatch in the order. But basically, this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to purposely, I try to put it not in an order, so that I can call the audience to find out if you people have really understood. And yes, the fashion photographer. So he is a person. He like, as like, the um, uh, he takes the role of a photographer, and he picturizes as to how the garment has to be portrayed during a fashion show, or during a photo shoot, something like that. So he takes the role of a photographer, and he plans it, and he executes it. The costume designer are the people who try to design costumes. Costumes means it's a combination of clothes and the accessories, and more depending on the timeline. Say for example, if it's going to be a 1740, if it's going to be a 1940s movie, then costume design only can help you get that feel when you when they try to design that the garments. Or it's not only the time, it can be depending on the like it can be a rural movie, or it can be an urban movie, or something like that. So it depending on the environment that the movie has to set in the minds of the viewers. Costume designer designs the costumes. And fashion retail manager, yes, is the same thing. Fashion visual merchandiser, yes. And the senior fashion consultant, so this is nothing but the fashion consultant. So as you so you know, as when you enter, you become a junior fashion consultant, then you become a fashion consultant, then a senior, then like that, you know, it goes like that. And the store manager, totally he takes care of all the activities which is happening in the retail outlet. So like this, I can give you 2 or 3 slides or more to tell you what are the different careers which are available. But then my idea was to give you an understanding about the whole fashion industry and the way it works, because uh, you people can understand which is your niche area, and you can prepare yourself based on the kind of professional skills which I give you, which I have given you, and the kind of preparation that you will have to make as a student itself. According to that particular area, you will have to get the expertise. You will have to learn things from the market, and then go about to say to the people, yes, I have you know, I'm fully armed for this kind of a role. Give me the job. That's how you'll have to go. So I have limited to just 2 slides, because each role can have a different kind of a responsibility depending on the place that they work. For example, merchandiser is the most commonly used word, and you can find it in any kind of a workplace, but their responsibilities differ. So I didn't want to confine myself in just giving you the roles. So that is why I decided to give you a whole look, the insight about how the fashion industry works. So hope I have given you a picture about that. With that, yes, it's a big thanks from me, and all the best for a very bright career in the fashion industry. And I'm ready to take up any kind of queries from your side.
Now the session is open for discussion. You can post your question in the chat box.
So I think I can stop sharing my screen, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. You can stop. Dear participants, any queries? You can post your questions in the chat box. Banu ma'am,
Yes.
one question from Sindhu L.
Yeah.
Ma'am, after the 3 years of diploma, what can I do? Like she's asking.
Uh, what has Sindhu done in the diploma? I think should be related to garments, right?
She didn't mention that. She
Uh,
did mention only 3 years of diploma. What can I do? I think in
okay.
fashion.
So if it's going to be fashion, yes, you can do your further studies in either a BSc, or you can also take up a lateral entry thing. You can take up your engineering also. Because with just a diploma, I think it's better you improve your academic strength also. And by the time also, I think you can take up a lot of small projects, because you are already exposed to our field. So your performance in a undergraduate degree is going to be very useful for you. You can right away take up small mini projects and all those things whenever you find some time. Go to even a tailor, go to a boutique, or if you have an industry which is very next to you, go there. So go for some internships. Try to improve your technical skills. And if you feel that you don't want to continue your studies, I think you can right away go as an intern. You start your career with a kind of workplace where you are interested, and then I think once you get the expertise, you can start on your own. So it all depends on which area you have completed in the diploma. What are your interests? It's depending on all these things. There are a lot of options, Sindhu. All the very best.
Ma'am, another question from Amsamani Textile Clothing. What will be the status of Indian fashion industry after the present economy issues in your view?
Hello, ma'am. Thanks for joining. Amsamani ma'am is my guide in my PG. I'm honored to have you here for my webinar, ma'am. Thank you for joining. So I think, yes, this kind of an uncertainty is there in all our minds, but it is just going to be delayed. That's it. We are just going to wait for things to get settled. And after this, it, it is going to be a routine thing for us only. But only thing is, the kind of the work environment is going to be different, because the kind of fashions that people will be using for some time is going to be minimalistic, and the kind of colors which we'll be using. So like that, the and the trends, the detailing will be a bit different. And when we take the manufacturing, the only thing is we just have to set ourselves ready, because there are a lot of foreign investments which are going to come inside. Only thing is we just have to wait, because now with the lack of economy, we don't have any orders, we don't have any investments to do. Only thing is we just have to prepare ourselves physically, technically and mentally, and then wait for us to grab more opportunities which are going to come after this uncertainty is going to get over, because clothing is something going to be all along with us till the end of the mankind. So we just don't have to worry about that. So I think there's one more person, Rupa. um, I have completed 3-year diploma in fashion technology. I want to start a boutique. um, Give me the procedure of shop. So my advice is, join with the boutique, try to understand how the working is, because lot of boutiques, no, due to the economic constraints, but if people are very very intelligent, they do have some structured way of doing it. So to understand the structured way of running a boutique, it's always better that you work with a boutique. Try to understand how people are doing their work, and then you can start off. Fine. And the next one is about the person, I think the student of costume design and fashion. This person is interested in visual merchandising. So as far as visual merchandising is concerned, like, if it's going to be garments, if you want to do some garment designing, you have the fabrics, you have customers all around you to play with. So you can just with friends, even if you start, you can first start off with yourself. Try to do something which fits you better than your friends, and then it can just go. But in the case of visual merchandising, you need a play area. That is a play area in the sense you need a store where you can start learning about all those things. But for you to get a hang of it, there are a lot of open source softwares which are available in the net. You can just download any of these softwares, where you can try to practice a few, the store planning can be done, the windows can be planned, all these things can be done. So you can just try to get a hang of it. But the practical part of it, that kind of an experience you can only get only when you go into a store, try to work there, try to understand the requirements of a store and what is expected from a visual merchandiser, get that experience, and then you can start off on your own. That is, you can become a freelance visual merchandiser, and then you can start your career as such. As a freelancer you can do, but this really needs a lot of experience. Okay, there's one more question. In the view of textile technology and textile chemistry, which has more beautiful career? Okay. um, uh, so beautiful in the sense, I think both are really beautiful. Only thing is, textile chemistry means you will be working on chemical processing kind of things, like, the dyeing, the finishing, and all those things. And of course, there is some opening for no, I think these are the main things that you can concentrate, but then you have a wider gamut of opportunities available as a textile technologist. You do have textile chemistry, you have lot of openings, yes, but then the openings, the kind of varieties of openings that you have is more in textile technology, and even better is fashion technology. What is the scope of fashion designers in future? It's going to be the same. Only thing is, the requirements are going to change every day. That's it. The fashion designer is going to adapt themselves according to the requirements. Without a diploma in fashion designing, is there any job opportunities in fashion industry for BCom, MCom graduate students? Maybe you can, if you're really passionate, there are a lot of people that we meet. Something like, they sometimes they don't get an opportunity to study fashion, or sometimes their parents don't allow them to take up fashion design, but still they're very passionate. For such people, you can there are a lot of institutions which offer a 1-year degree, some certificate programs. Best is you can take a 1-year diploma, not a degree, a 1-year diploma. There are a lot of institutions which are offering around Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. There are a lot of institutions who are offering a 1-year diploma. So there are a lot of openings also, like, say for example, you can take up garment manufacturing, or you can take up the fashion designing part where you learn illustration and all those things. Okay, so you have lot of varieties of 1-year courses which are available. Take up one of them, and then you can start off your career in fashion. Ankit Nainival, there is no availability of such course in my locality. Tell me some online course or else. I don't think fashion can be studied online. There can be some supplement papers which you can do online, because it's, as I told you before, it's a combination of skill, knowledge, and attitude, everything together. I think you will have to take up a basic degree at least, and then further to improve yourself, you can do some online course, because practicals are very, very important for this. I don't know, Ankit Nainival, I don't know from where you come. Um, you can just join any one of us, either Mysore or come to Chennai. We'll take care of you. Yeah, this is what
He's from Haryana, ma'am.
Sorry, Haryana. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are welcome, Ankit. But I think in between there are a lot of other states also which are offering. You can just browse through. Okay, the difference between fashion designer and a fashion illustrator. A fashion illustrator just the illustration skills. They have very good illustration skills. Okay, so they present the illustrations very beautifully. The fashion designer has to do much more than that. The product development happens there, right from conceptualization, that is the inspiration, the design development, product development, everything the fashion designer takes care. The fashion illustrator works along with the fashion designer, tries to interact with the fashion designer, gets his ideas, and then he creates the illustrations. Boutique, which type of a buyer is more concentrated to? When starting a boutique, which type of a buyer is more concentrated? That is, if it's going to be a boutique, like, sometimes it's exactly like the USP of a brand, depending on your expertise, which type of category of clothing you are an expertise. And you should have, as a boutique, you should have a pattern master, or you should have set of tailors who are good at a certain skill set. So maybe pattern master, yes, you can do it yourself, but again, the same person designing, preparing patterns, stitching is it takes a lot of time. You cannot cater to the needs of many people, so you need a team who can help you in running a boutique. So in such a case, it all depends on what is your expertise, what is the expertise of your team. So based on that only, you can decide which kind of category of clothing you can concentrate. So based on that, your customer is going to come to you. So sometimes, no, like for example, if it's going to be if it's going to be a uniform season, so you take up some orders, and you do the uniforms. So this is more of a bulk production, and once the season is over, then you will have to cater to the needs of the next season or the next set of customers who are going to come to you. So to begin with, you try to check out what is the expertise of your team. Slowly you can improve the expertise of your team, and then you can broaden the customers to whom you're going to cater to. Yeah, this question again, I think Shakti Shri, it's already been given. So you can do a 1-year course in fashion, and then you can start off in this career. Ankit Naniwal, you've continuously been sending, please come to us. Either come to Mysore or come to Chennai. We have a lot of people working who are coming from the northeastern states. So Ankit, I don't think it's a big difficulty for you to come down over here. Ankit, maybe you can private message your number. We can get in touch with you to support you for the admissions. How can we set a brand in this competitive industry? The brand, yes, the DNAs and the USPs have to be planned in a very nice way. Set your target customers, or select your target customers correctly. When you have understood the requirements of your customer, and your product is going to satisfy the requirements of that customers, you can start off with your brand. And it's not that a brand has to right away start off with a huge mass of people. Even if you're going to cater to a small set of people also, I think that's perfectly fine. Okay, so again, Ankit is there. So maybe just private message your number, Ankit, so that we can help you. We can help you identifying some course according to your economic conditions. So if at all you need more informations, just go to the website KCG College of Technology. You have the informations there. The contact details and all those things are there. You can just talk to us, or I can give you the type my mail ID over here, so you can contact us. Yes. So that's my mail ID. So you people can feel free to mail any kind of queries that you have. So I think I've come to the end of the all the chats and the questions and all those things.
Any questions? Dear participants, any questions? Feedback form has been given in the chat box itself, Soumya. Okay, thank you for the overwhelming response. I express my heartfelt thanks to the resource person, principal, and all the participants for making this webinar a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much.